The Mississippi River, this is also incredible, has hit historic low levels due to the current drought.
Now that harvest time has arrived, farmers need somewhere to send their grain because of the continuing droughts. The largest river in America is having problems. On the Mississippi River, bizarre events are occurring. There is a decline in water levels. Huge dunes have now taken the place of the former river bottom. A few unsolved riddles are revealed in the process. You might be curious as to what led to this horrific incident. Furthermore, some climate change scientists have advanced various theories. It's extremely biblical. First, they think it's just a cause of Bible prophecies coming true. On the other hand, the current drought affecting much of the central United States has been described by one study as probably a transient meteorological occurrence. Life is full of change. We're aware. There are no longer any remnants of what once existed. We are aware. We must concede, however, that the Mississippi River's dryness was an unexpected plot development. Whatever the circumstance, it's a fact that certain questions must be answered, such as, is this a sign of Christ's second coming? Is the world already ending? What impact will the drought have on people's lives? Let's deeply look at scientists' terrifying new discovery in the Mississippi River that shocked the entire industry. The Mississippi River. The Mississippi River is the largest and most significant river in North America. This enormous river, sometimes known as the mighty Mississippi, begins as a little stream in Minnesota's Lake Itasca and runs 2,340 miles later into the Gulf of Mexico. It's undoubtedly one of the most priceless assets in the nation. 41% of the total area of the 48 contiguous United States, or the majority of them, is covered by its watershed. This vast river system, which contains a number of notable tributaries, drains 1,260,000 square miles, making it the largest drainage basin in North America and the third largest in the entire world. It dominates a majority of the states in the middle of the country, including Arkansas. The river created the so-called Delta east of Arkansas, a portion of the nation's largest alluvial plain, and it almost runs the entire length of Arkansas's eastern border. A huge variety of aquatic and floral species can be found in this significant ecosystem. They're detailed into two large marshes, a number of enormous oxbow lakes, and Lake Chico, the largest natural lake in Arkansas. When Europeans arrived and began learning about the entire range of what the New World had to offer, individuals began staking claim to the land along the reverse banks of the Mississippi River, which has long provided for mankind. Realizing the river's huge potential, traders began to exploit it to transport goods. Farmers transformed the region around to grow crops, and communities grew, creating ports for boosting trade down the Mississippi. The Mississippi River has changed as trade has expanded since the Industrial Revolution until the present. By constructing federally funded levees and dikes and dredging the river, civilization has altered the river to meet its economic needs. More than 2,000 miles of the Mississippi watershed has been leveled. In order to connect its tributaries, the Mississippi River system now carries an estimated 460 million tons of freight each year. The Mississippi River and the Mississippi Basin are essential to the United States agricultural sector. They manage 92% of all agricultural exports, including 78% of global grain and soybean exports, as well as 60% of U.S. grain exports. Other goods transported by barges under the Mississippi and its tributaries, such as the Ohio River, include coal, aluminum, steel, iron, petroleum, rubber, paper, coffee, and chemicals. Specific goods from industries and beyond that make their way up and down the mighty Mississippi include corn, animal feed, fertilizers, salt, alcohol, oil, gasoline, sand, and gravel. This amounts to at least 3 trillion pounds at the annual rate. Mississippi River experiencing record lows. The Mississippi River reached record low levels, some of which were lower than at any time since records were first kept in 1954. The Mississippi River did indeed reach a record low on October 18, 2022 at Memphis, Tennessee, measuring minus 11.1 feet. In fact, according to the National Weather Service, the water levels along the Mississippi River from Cairo, Illinois to Baton Rouge, Louisiana were so low that commercial activities like barge traffic and river boats were having trouble navigating certain stretches of the river. According to forecasters, the level will also keep dropping as long as the drought continues. Mississippi River drought risk. It's getting drier. Many people discuss the dangers of rising sea levels in relation to climate change, but did you know that low water levels can also be a serious environmental problem? Nearly 60% of the Midwest and northern Greater Plains states are currently experiencing a drought. Water levels on the Mississippi River have fallen to record lows due to the entire stretch of the river, from Minnesota to the mouth of the river in Louisiana, receiving below average rainfall over the past 2 months. Despite the fact that scientists agree that climate change is increasing temperatures and making droughts more frequent and intense, it's causing disruptions in the barge and ship traffic that is essential for transporting recently harvested agricultural goods like soybeans and corn down rivers for export. According to a weather expert, the most recent drought to hit the central United States is probably just a passing weather phenomenon. The river transports more than half of the old U.S. grain exports. Still, the drought has significantly decreased the flows of goods, according to estimates from the industry used by the federal government. Awards for rail shipments and a substitute for sending goods by barges are also available. Barges are at risk. Barges run the risk of sinking and becoming mired in mud. The U.S. Coast Guard reported at least 8 groundings earlier this month. Some barges touched the bottom but were not stuck, while others required assistance from salvage companies. In order to avoid sinking too far into the water, barges must be careful to lighten their loads, which reduces the amount of cargo they can transport. According to the industry estimates used by the federal government, the river transports more than half of the nation's historic grain exports. Still, the drought has decreased the flow of goods by nearly 45%. A dry Mississippi could cause delays in flows of supplies, including fuels, grains, and cement from New Orleans to the Gulf of Mexico. Experts predict that this disruption will result in inflation and rising food and produce prices, as if the prospect of impending doom weren't terrifying enough, causing a lack of fresh water. Due to the lack of fresh water from the dry weather, salt is being released. The Mississippi River is being infiltrated by water from the Gulf of Mexico, which worries state and local authorities. Because of the river's slow flow, the saltwater from the Gulf of Mexico has room to drag upstream along the river's bottom, mixing with fresh water and endangering the supply of drinking water. Mississippi River exposes bones and boats. The Mississippi River's low levels also expose human remains, similar to when Lake Mead reached historic low levels and revealed numerous bodies. In addition, a shipwreck was visible in the area of Baton Rouge, Louisiana, from the receding waters. Archaeologists agree that the shipwreck was thought to have occurred in the late 1800s or early 1900s. Before the waters of the Mississippi return and send it back to the river's bottom, archaeologists are examining it. Thought: in time. People in Mississippi are walking towards that unusual rock formation that nobody can reach because it's in the middle of the Mississippi River, which has dried up so much that you can cross it and get to, which is unbelievable. The Colorado River is overflowing dry, Lake Powell is dry, and Lake Mead is dry, according to the end of days prophecies. Who would dam the Euphrates River, which is predicted to run dry in the coming days to the lowest level it's ever been? The Nile River is drying up, and lakes and rivers are disappearing everywhere. Guess what? No one anticipated that today was a sign of the end times. You never know who will be able to predict something, as some people speak prophetically without even being aware of it. In 1982, a man wrote a song that still serves as a prophecy. Undoubtedly, we're currently experiencing apocalyptic events. That song was written in 1982 by Hank Williams Jr. and was about the future. He was speaking as the action that was about to take place here was coming to an end. We're exactly 40 years later, and the same things he wrote about in the song are still happening. Bible prophecies are being fulfilled everywhere, and no matter where you turn, you can see what's happening is true. All rivers are drying up. Where do we go from here? This low point in the Euphrates River history dates back to at least 5,000 years. 5,000 years! Wow. If not more, as you may have heard, Christians are keeping a close eye on the Euphrates River because it's almost dry and because a Bible verse associated with it mentions 4 fallen angels after it's dried up. 4 fallen angels and the river Euphrates drought, quite mysterious relation. This begs the question, were they in the Euphrates River if they came from elsewhere in the river? Given the current course of events, the Euphrates River could soon result in a humanitarian crisis for Syrians who depend on it for their water supply. A superficial analysis reveals that this refers to the global bird paints. Many Christians who are familiar with Bible prophecy have taken notice of this news for other good reasons, including the fact that the Euphrates River will play a significant role during the tribulation. With that said, some claim that the Euphrates River's current flow is fulfilling a Bible prophecy, but is this really the case? According to chapter 9 of the book of Revelation, the 4 angels will be released. Then they will start a war known as the War of the Sixth Trumpet that will kill a third of humanity. The Euphrates River will dry up according to chapter 16 of Revelation, and 3 demonic beings in the form of frogs will emerge from the dragon's mouth on the mount of the beast, take the words out of the false prophet's mouth, and cause the kings of the east to assemble for the battle of Armageddon. Therefore, these 2 distinct chapters discuss the deliverance of the demons, fallen angels, and demons who come to bring the great war and pain to earth, and people can say that this is all in their heads. It's nothing we care about. Today, we've got to tell you that the Euphrates is drying up, the Mississippi is drying up, and many rivers are drying up, and this is simply a sign that the end is approaching. This is genuinely apocalyptic, and we're on the verge of eternity. What are your thoughts on these? Do you think they're simple natural disasters that have no effect on the passage of time? That's all for now. What do you think of the video? Let us know in the comment section below. If you enjoyed this video and want more content like this, be sure to give this video a like and hit that subscribe button before you go. Thanks for watching.